Did you know that men with premature gray hair are statistically more likely to suffer from coronary artery disease regardless of their chronological age? It turns out the same biological mechanism that bleaches your hair is often the same mechanism building invisible plaque in your arteries. That silver strand you see in the mirror is a warning shot across the bow. It is telling you that your internal age is accelerating faster than the date on your driver's license. Today, I'm going to show you the specific health markers you need to test immediately to stop that clock. Most of us look at gray hair and think cosmetic issue. We think about which dye to buy or whether to wear a hat. But as a mentor who cares about your longevity, I need you to understand that your hair is actually a biological barometer. It is one of the most energy demanding tissues in your body. When your system is under siege, whether from inflammation, nutrient starvation, or hormonal chaos, your body makes a calculated decision. It cuts power to the hair follicles to save the heart, the brain, and the liver. So when you see that gray creeping in earlier than expected, or if it's happening rapidly, it is not just bad genes. It is a distress signal. The good news is that once you decode the signal, you can often fix the underlying engine failure. In this video, we are going to walk through the specific science-backed reasons why your color is fading, and more importantly, give you a checklist of fixes. We aren't just trying to save your vanity, we are trying to save your life. Before we unpack the science, if you are someone who believes that health is an investment, not an expense, consider subscribing to our community. We go deep here, sharing the kind of senior health wisdom that often gets rushed through in a standard 15-minute doctor's visit. And I'm curious, where are you watching from today? Drop your city or country in the comments below. It is always inspiring to see how global this fight for health really is. Let's begin with the most critical connection, the one I mentioned right at the start, because it is the most urgent. We have to talk about the direct link between your hair color and your cardiovascular health. It might seem like a stretch to connect the hair on your head to the pump in your chest, but they share a common enemy: oxidative stress and aging cells. In a fascinating observational study presented at the European Society of Cardiology Congress, researchers examined hundreds of men and found a correlation that should make us all sit up and take notice. They discovered that a high hair whitening score, basically a clinical measurement of how much gray hair a person had, was significantly associated with an increased risk of coronary artery disease. This was true even after they adjusted for age and other traditional risk factors. The study suggests that the biological mechanisms that cause hair to turn gray, such as impaired DNA repair, oxidative stress, and inflammation, are the exact same mechanisms that cause damage to your endothelium, the lining of your arteries. Imagine your blood vessels rusting like old pipes. That rust shows up as gray hair first because the hair follicle is so sensitive. If your hair is turning gray rapidly, it is a very good reason to double check your blood pressure, your cholesterol, and your C-reactive protein levels. Your hair might be the early warning system that prompts you to save your heart. So treat it with that level of respect. Now, let's move to a fuel source that your body simply cannot function without, yet is one of the most common deficiencies we see in seniors. I am talking about vitamin B12. You might think of vitamins as just general health boosters, but B12 is non-negotiable for the production of red blood cells and the healthy function of your nervous system. When your levels drop, your body enters a state of rationing. It hoards the remaining B12 for your heartbeats and your brain synapses, essentially cutting the supply line to less critical areas like your hair follicles. Without this vital nutrient, the pigment producing cells, called melanocytes, simply stop working. This isn't just speculation, it is documented medical fact. A pivotal study published in the International Journal of Trichology highlighted this connection vividly. The researchers found that in a group of young people experiencing premature graying, a significant percentage were deficient in vitamin B12. But here is the truly exciting part. The study noted that in many cases, once the deficiency was corrected through diet or supplementation, the repigmentation of the hair was actually possible. Imagine your hair follicles are like tiny factories. If you stop delivering the raw materials, the factory shuts down and the lights go out. B12 is that raw material. If you have been feeling unusually tired lately, or if you have noticed a pins and needles sensation in your hands or feet alongside those new gray hairs, ask your doctor to check your B12 levels specifically. It's a simple blood test that could save you from much bigger neurological problems down the road. And as a bonus, it might just bring some color back to your crown. Speaking of stress on the body, we have to talk about the silent rust that corrodes our cells from the inside out. This is a process called oxidative stress. In simple terms, your body is constantly producing waste products called free radicals. Usually, your antioxidants, the cleanup crew, handle them. But when the waste outnumbers the cleanup crew, you get oxidative stress. One specific form of this involves a chemical you probably have in your bathroom cabinet, hydrogen peroxide. Believe it or not, your hair cells naturally produce tiny amounts of hydrogen peroxide. Normally, an enzyme called catalase breaks it down into harmless water and oxygen. But as we age, or if we are under high oxidative stress, that enzyme production drops. The result is a buildup of hydrogen peroxide within the hair follicle itself. Effectively, your body starts bleaching your hair from the inside out. A landmark report published in the FASF journal detailed this exact mechanism, showing how the accumulation of hydrogen peroxide blocks the production of melanin. It's like leaving a colored shirt in a bucket of bleach. Eventually, the color is stripped away. This internal bleaching is often driven by external lifestyle factors, pollution, UV rays, and poor diet. So, how do we boost our internal cleanup crew? We need to increase our intake of catalase promoting foods and antioxidants. Think of colorful vegetables, berries, and foods rich in vitamin E. By eating a rainbow, you are essentially sending in reinforcements to scrub away that internal rust before it can bleach your hair. We often talk about stress as an emotional feeling, but we rarely consider what it physically does to our anatomy. You have heard the old stories of people whose hair turned white overnight from fright. While the overnight part is a myth, the connection between chronic stress and graying is scientifically rock solid. When you are constantly stressed, your body is flooded with cortisol and noradrenaline. This puts you in a permanent state of fight or flight. In this survival mode, your body burns through resources at an accelerated rate. And it turns out your hair pigment stem cells are part of the collateral damage. A groundbreaking study published in the journal Nature by researchers at Harvard University mapped this out. They found that when the sympathetic nervous system is activated by stress, it causes the nerves that reach into the hair follicles to release noradrenaline. This chemical causes the pigment regenerating stem cells to activate excessively and then deplete. Essentially, the stress causes the cells to work so hard and so fast that they burn out and disappear permanently. Once those stem cells are gone, they cannot produce pigment anymore. It's like revving a car engine in neutral until the gas runs out. The car is fine, but it's not going anywhere. This is why stress management isn't just about feeling good, it's about preserving your biological reserves. Whether it is deep breathing, walking in nature, or meditation, finding a way to lower that fight or flight response is critical for keeping your stem cells and your color intact. Next, we need to look at the master controller of your metabolism, the thyroid gland. This butterfly-shaped gland at the base of your neck dictates how fast or slow your body runs. If it is underactive hypothyroidism or overactive hyperthyroidism, it throws your entire system into chaos. Your hair follicles are incredibly sensitive to thyroid hormones. T3 and T4 hormones directly influence the cycle of hair growth and pigmentation. When these levels are off, the melanocytes, the pigment factories, can go dormant or die off prematurely. Research published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism has long established the link between thyroid dysfunction and hair abnormalities, including premature graying. It is often one of the first visible symptoms, appearing long before the fatigue or weight changes that people typically associate with thyroid issues. Imagine your thyroid is the conductor of an orchestra. If the conductor starts lagging behind or waving the baton too frantically, the music falls apart. In your body, the music is your metabolic processes, and the silence is the loss of color in your hair. If you have noticed other signs like dry skin, unexplained weight gain or loss, or constant fatigue along with your gray hair, a simple TSH blood test is your next step. Correcting a thyroid imbalance can halt the graying process and, in some instances, restore the health of the hair that grows in afterward. Let's shift gears to a habit that many of us struggle with or have struggled with in the past: smoking. We all know smoking damages the lungs, but the damage it does to your hair is just as profound and visually striking. Smoking creates a perfect storm for gray hair. First, it constricts the tiny blood vessels that feed your scalp, starving the hair follicles of oxygen. Second, the toxins in cigarette smoke generate massive amounts of free radicals, that internal rust we talked about earlier, which directly attack the melanin producing cells. A study published in the Indian Dermatology Online Journal confirmed this with stark clarity. The researchers found that smokers were 2.5 times more likely to develop premature gray hair compared to non-smokers. It's a statistical correlation that is hard to ignore. Every puff is essentially accelerating the aging clock of your entire body, and your hair is just the visible face of that clock. If you are a smoker, or even if you live with one and are exposed to secondhand smoke, this is yet another compelling reason to quit. Think of your hair as a canary in the coal mine. If the smoke is turning your hair gray, imagine what it is doing to the delicate tissues of your heart and lungs. The moment you quit, your circulation improves. And while you can't undo all the damage, you stop the accelerated aging process in its tracks. If you are finding these connections between your internal health and your external appearance helpful, please take a moment to give this video a thumbs up. It helps us spread this message to more people who might be ignoring these warning signs. Now, let's talk about the trace minerals that act as the nuts and bolts of your pigment production. Specifically, we need to talk about copper. You might not think of copper as a nutrient. It sounds like something you make pipes out of, but in the body, copper is essential for an enzyme called tyrosinase. This enzyme is the catalyst that transforms the amino acid tyrosine into melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its color. Without enough copper, you can have all the protein and vitamins in the world, but the chemical reaction that creates color simply won't happen. A study in the Biological Trace Element Research Journal analyzed the serum copper levels in people with premature graying and found significantly lower levels compared to a control group. It turns out that copper deficiency is more common than we realize, especially in modern diets that rely heavily on processed foods. It's like trying to bake a cake but forgetting the baking powder. The ingredients are there, but the result falls flat. You don't need to chew on a penny to fix this. You can find rich, natural sources of copper in foods like shiitake mushrooms, sesame seeds, cashews, and dark chocolate. By simply adding a handful of cashews or a square of dark chocolate to your daily routine, you are providing the essential catalyst your body needs to keep the pigment factory running. We also have to consider the role of refined sugar and its impact on your body's aging process. High sugar intake leads to chronic inflammation and insulin resistance, both of which accelerate cellular aging. When your blood sugar spikes, it creates what are called advanced glycation end products, appropriately acronymed as AGEs. These sticky compounds gum up the works of your cellular machinery, impairing the ability of your DNA to repair itself. While we often associate sugar with diabetes or weight gain, its effect on the hair follicle is potent. Research in the journal Clinical Interventions in Aging discusses how high glucose levels can induce cellular senescence, basically, forcing cells into early retirement. When the cells in your hair follicle retire early, they stop producing pigment. Imagine pouring syrup into a delicate watch mechanism. Everything slows down and eventually stops. Reducing your intake of processed sugars and refined carbohydrates isn't just about your waistline. It's about keeping the gears of your cells clean and functional. Swapping that morning pastry for a protein-rich egg or yogurt can lower your glycemic load and reduce the production of those aging AGEs. Another often overlooked factor is the health of your liver and kidneys. In traditional Chinese medicine, the hair is often viewed as the excess of the blood and is closely tied to kidney energy. While Western medicine uses different terminology, the concept holds up. Your kidneys and liver are your primary detoxification organs. If they are overburdened, toxins accumulate in the blood, and peripheral tissues like hair follicles are the first to be deprived of nutrients. A sluggish liver fails to process nutrients efficiently, leading to the very deficiencies in B12 and iron that we discussed earlier. While direct studies linking specific kidney function solely to gray hair are less common in isolation, broad geriatric research, such as that found in the journals of gerontology, consistently links markers of frailty and biological aging, which include renal and hepatic decline, to phenotypic changes like hair graying. When your body is struggling to detoxify, it cannot waste energy on aesthetic maintenance. Supporting your liver with leafy greens, lemon water, and adequate hydration helps clear the sludge from your system, ensuring that nutrient-rich blood actually reaches the scalp. Finally, we must address the role of autoimmune responses. Sometimes the body's immune system gets confused and identifies the hair pigment cells as foreign invaders. This is seen in conditions like vitiligo and alopecia areata. While these are distinct medical conditions, there is a spectrum of autoimmune activity that can manifest as scattered white hairs. If your immune system is chronically activated due to food sensitivities, gut health issues, or chronic infections, it can launch low-level attacks on your own tissues. A study in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology noted the higher prevalence of autoimmune thyroid disease and other autoimmune conditions in patients with premature graying. It's a case of friendly fire. Your immune system is trying to protect you, but in its confusion, it destroys the very cells that color your hair. Focusing on gut health, the headquarters of your immune system, is the best way to calm this fire. Incorporating probiotics and anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric and ginger can help regulate your immune response, telling your body to stand down and stop attacking its own assets. So let's take a breath and recap what we have uncovered. That gray hair isn't just an annoyance, it is a messenger. It is telling you to check your B12 and copper levels. It is asking you to look at your stress management and your sleep. It is a warning to check your heart health and your thyroid function. It is a plea to clean up your diet, reduce sugar, and maybe put down the cigarettes. It is a comprehensive report card on your biological age versus your chronological age. The beauty of this perspective is that it puts the control back in your hands. You are not a victim of your genetics. While you cannot change your DNA, you can change the environment your DNA lives in by addressing these root causes, nourishing your blood, protecting your arteries, calming your nervous system. You are doing so much more than just potentially darkening your hair. You are extending your health span. You are investing in a future where you have the energy to play with your grandchildren, the mobility to travel, and the clarity of mind to enjoy it all. Don't let the mirror discourage you. Let it motivate you. Use that first gray hair as the catalyst for a new chapter of health. Start with one small change today. Maybe it's a B12 supplement. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk to de-stress, or maybe it's scheduling that checkup you have been putting off. Whatever it is, do it because your body is worth it. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Which of these warning signs resonated with you the most? Is it the heart connection or perhaps the nutritional gap? Share your thoughts because your experience might just encourage someone else to take action. And if you found value in this deep dive, please subscribe and like this video because your health is worth fighting for, and we are here to fight alongside you. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and listen to what your body is whispering before it has to scream.